Alex Charfen, I really appreciate you showing up, man. It's great to see you in person.
Brad, thanks for having me, man. This place is so awesome. I'm impressed.
I love it. Yeah, this is my lounge spot and my happy place.
Yeah.
Yes, I get to escape and hang out with cool people and talk about great stuff.
Yeah, I've been in a ton of studios. This may be one of my favorite.
Well, we will, as we were saying before we turned it on, at some point are going to have to rebuild pretty soon because I sold the building. So
yeah,
it was. I started by saying that it was a mixed bag, and I was, quickly corrected in my own mind with, no, it's pretty fucking great.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it was pretty fucking great.
Well, and then you get to do this again. And so I can't wait to see what the next space is like because there is a ton of creativity here.
I love it. Yeah, it's I was talking about this earlier today, but the environments that I am in I didn't think that they mattered to me when I was younger. I had this sort of mind over everything else mentality. And as I get older, I realize that if I can create the environment to build triggers so that my emotions are triggered, right? And my thoughts are triggered by being there, everything about it's better.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think when I was younger, I was the same way. Like it was mind over everything. So like I worked on 2 filing cabinets with a door for a long time. Like literally
me too.
a door.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same desk?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us had that desk.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people I've shared that with, and they're like, wait a second, I did the same thing.
100%.
And so I went from that where like I didn't pay attention to the chair, the desk, anything. And then I got to this point where I realized it just wasn't comfortable. Like I was uncomfortable. And so I was telling you earlier, I built a standing desk like 25 years ago before they were even a thing, because I started feeling like, man, if I'm higher and I'm standing up, I feel more engaged, I feel more present. And now environment's everything to me. Like I've obsessed over every inch of our house. We've remodeled every room. We took all the noise out of it. And so that the things that should stand out. And when you do that, you're right. When you have triggers like visual cues of artwork or a space that you really care about, like the wallpaper in my office is something I'm really into. So like all those triggers kind of heighten sensitivity and heighten awareness. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and you can evoke certain emotional responses.
Yeah,
by doing that, or certain thought patterns. And the wallpaper, by the way, wallpaper in here is one of my favorite things.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, I think I think a lot of entrepreneurs discount how much environment can get you into state.
Totally.
And if can you do it without the environment? Of course you can. Like we all can. But why spend the decision-making fatigue? Why spend the calories in the brain to be able to do that? If you can set up the environment to put you there, you're ahead of a lot of other people. So
I look at that like setting your shoes and workout clothes out in the morning so that when you wake up, they're there ready to go.
Yeah, there's no resistance.
Yeah, it makes it easier. And if you can eliminate those things that get in your way, the resistance, you're more likely to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I never had problems with that one. I got that pattern going really early. But there are tons of other things that's just, get it in front of you.
Yeah, I would never assume you had problems with that one.
Well,
it was super funny a few months ago when I was in a conversation at an event. I think I shared this with you, and people were talking about doing some challenge where you like run the height of, or you climb Everest in a week or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think it was with,
it's 29029.
Yeah, and
I have done this a few times.
Well, and the conversation was, I did it, and I went with a bunch of friends, and there was one guy there who did it twice while all of us did it once. And I'm like, was his name Brad? He's like, how did you know? I'm like, just guessed. I just guessed. I'm like, because there's one guy in the world I know who would do that. It's Brad Weimar.
Yeah. Yep. This is true. This is true. That is, I still have a site up that has a little clip of it. It's everestingx2.com.
Yeah.
And it was, ultimately it was triggered by drunken bet, as they are, because no good stories start with salad.
Right. Super funny.
So, all right. So Alex, we've known each other for a few years, and oddly, I think we connected through NewFit.
Yep.
Which is how do you explain NewFit?
NewFit is, how do you explain NewFit? NewFit is, the technology behind NewFit is electromuscular stimulation. And so you pass direct current through your muscles so that they flex, a lot like Bruce Lee used to do with car batteries, only way more comfortable. And it's like one of the best rehab workout, functional activities I've ever done. I actually have one of the units in my house.
Yeah.
And Garrett Salpeter, who put all of that together, is just genius.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's, I think that for me, the direct current is the differentiator with electrical stimulation versus like a TENS unit.
100%.
Which is alternating current.
Yeah.
And then the other is knowing what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
And Garrett, being the administrator, he's now taught, a fleet of people how to do this, but had a lot to do with it too. So you were rehabbing an injury. And I was also kind of, but we would get mornings to talk in there and see each other in Austin. And that's how I got to know you. But you've had an awesome entrepreneurial journey and are continuing to.
Yeah.
The thing that stuck out to me immediately, so I want to get into today and get into operations because that's your focus right now. But you can fill in the blanks here, but one of the things that I found fascinating was Easy Pay Direct has probably, I want to call it, 13 to 15% of our audience of our clients are people selling information. And the model with that typically is some low dollar thing that goes into some mid-dollar membership course that goes to a live event for a few grand, that goes to coaching for 10 to 50 grand.
Yeah.
These are kind of the tiers. And you look at the Tony Robbins, the Grant Cardone, the Dean Graziosi, the Fortune Builders, real estate people. That's the model. But the other path that is education are universities, right? Or certification programs.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the certification program. Give me a little backdrop on that, because I think that's such a cool story and such an amazing way to shift the notion of information and sell information.
So in 2007, my wife Katie and I lived in South Florida, and we were in real estate. We operated 3 real estate companies. We had an acquisition company, a management company, and then a company that held properties. And if you have any knowledge of what happened 2007, 2008, by the end of 2007, we were bankrupt. We thought we were going to retire. Like beginning 2007, it's like, man, we could check out. We don't need to do anything anymore.
Ouch.
We got so much equity, so much cash. Really, it started in 2006 for us because there was Wilma and Katrina, which burned through a ton of cash. Then the market imploded and we found ourselves losing everything, like literally all the properties, the companies, cash flow, everything. And I got really frustrated with that happening. Like, how did this happen to us and why did it happen to us? And we were conservative investors. We didn't have like 90% loans on anything. We had a ton of equity in our portfolio. And still, because the market turned upside down so far, like, we had properties that were worth $150,000 to $180,000. The one that sold the least was for $15,500.
Oh my God.
So like 90% losses in South Florida real estate in some of our properties. Portfolio overall went down over half. And when I started doing the research and looking at what was going on, what I was seeing was that we were in a massive crisis. And what the market was saying, what the National Association of Realtors was saying, what the major banks, brokerages were saying was that it was like a 6 month to a year crisis. And there was no way. And so I started doing a ton of research on it, talking to a bunch of real estate agents. And I saw this opportunity to put together a course to help realtors help homeowners who were in distress. A lot of the stuff that Katie and I had done was working with homeowners that were in foreclosure, homeowners that were in probate, people who had really bad property damage and couldn't pay for it. So we had worked with a lot of distressed homeowners up till then. And so we put together this body of content that was going to just be a class. And about halfway through, I started seeing the opportunity to turn it into a certification because realtors were going to have to differentiate themselves in the market. So we created a product called the Certified Distressed Property Expert. We did some few sales in 2017, but really in 2007. In 2008, we taught our first class. It was to 62 students in South Florida. We were going through bankruptcy. So like the room was like, we were going to pay later. The Kinko's was, we were going to pay later. We had some relationships. And so we literally had to collect money in the class in order to pay for everything. And the first 62 students graduated. A couple of them hooked us up with other people. In our first year, we trained about 1,500 people. We did about $500,000 in business. It went 127,000, $500,000, 7.2 million, 9.97 million. Wow. It was like this breakaway growth. And I think, it was definitely because the market needed a solution, but I think the way that we packaged it, where it was checklist easy, it was a certification, it let people differentiate themselves by buying our course, that had a lot to do with it. And over the course of the 7 or 8 years that we were really selling that product a lot, we went from arguing with the major brokerages and the banks and a lot of the organizations out there like Freddie and Fannie, because they were all saying that like this was going to resolve itself. And I was one of the few voices saying there's no way it's going to resolve itself. So they went from criticizing us and calling me Chicken Little to 2009, 2010, we were working with RE/MAX, Century 21, Prudential, all the major brokerages, Keller Williams regionally. We were working with Fannie and Freddie. I actually went and trained some people in both of those organizations. Awesome. It was a huge flip, and it was really intense.
Yeah, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
So I want to, you mentioned a number of operations things in there, which is checklist easy. But from a marketing position, the other thing that jumped out was positioning it for what the agents were going to get out of it. So, and how it would allow them to differentiate in their space.
Yeah.
What was the angle to get the RE/MAX, the Keller Williams, the big brokerages on board?
So
and did they get paid? Did they take a portion of the revenue for that?
Yeah, everybody that we worked with, we had kind of a partner program with companies like RE/MAX, but it paid off like crazy. So I built a relationship with Dave Liniger, the former chairman and CEO of RE/MAX founder. He's no longer there; he retired, but still maintains a ton of the stock. And the angle was all of the brokerages were caught off guard. Nobody expected that it would go from a retail sales market to a distressed sales market as fast as it did. It was really like a 6-month swing that you could see the numbers across the country, and really, 6 months swing where you could see it in the major markets and the coasts. And then within about 14 months, every market was feeling it. And we were there, people say we were there at the right place at the right time. Bankrupt in a rented condo, barely paying our bills, didn't feel like the right place at the right time. But what happened was our product was put together in a very operationally sound way. And so we didn't just teach information. We gave realtors all the tools that they needed for a step-by-step process so that they could meet with somebody who was in distress and present that package to the bank. And what happened was in the first year or two, banks actually started treating our agents preferentially. If you submitted the package on our forms and our resources, you got closed a lot quicker. Things happened faster. And so a couple of agents recommended us to RE/MAX. I went up there, met with Dave and with the executive team at RE/MAX, and Brad, at one point, he ended up hopping on a private jet and going to like 17 different cities and selling our product.
Wow.
So there was absolutely a partner program there, but it was amazing. He made the commitment to me in our first meeting that he was going to put 10,000 people through our program. And so I'm sitting there, we had just gone bankrupt, hadn't really built up our cash reserves again. And in the meeting, I'm like calculating in my head what 10,000 would look like. And it ended up with Katie and I actually having $1 million net profit day. Wow. When we put it on RE/MAX University. It was the highest selling course they had ever had in a single day at RE/MAX University. We did 1,500 people in a day.
Wow.
Or 1,800 people in a day. It was awesome.
What were they doing to push that out to? And this is a little bit selfish because we have a strategic partnership program. And one of the challenges with partnership programs in general is getting engagement, right? So you can sell the partner, but they still need to sell their audience, right? Like truly, they need to get it in front of their audience. They need to reiterate it. They need to push the value proposition. What was he doing to promote the product? What was his message to the agents?
Well, we built that message for them. Yeah. And here's what we started with was in our sales, we sold the agent on why they could sell themselves having the designation. And so whenever we were having the discussion, it was differentiate yourself, get more referrals, be part of our referral network with CDPs across the country.